Protect your online privacy today at expressvpn.com/inside.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Inside Gaming Daily for Friday. Let's talk about the Xbox Series X and games. There's so much pressure.
That was good. Perfectly acceptable, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's underselling it, but we'll talk about it later.
Microsoft's doing a big reveal of first-party games next week. We will be streaming that. Very excited about it. But Xbox boss Phil Spencer, friend of the show, is talking more about what we can expect from their next-gen system, especially when it comes to exclusives. Every gamer's favorite word.
But yeah, the short answer is the Xbox Series X isn't going to have any exclusives. Change that to a no. All right, there is a second sentence here. It's not going to have any exclusives because they're all going to be available on the Xbox One too. Yeah, so it's fine. It's still going to have exclusives. Just they'll be Xbox exclusive. They're going to try to ease us into the next generation as smoothly as possible, as smoothly as Phil Spencer eases himself into Mrs. Spencer.
You feel me?
All right. Well, Spencer talked more about his vision in a blog post titled, "You Are the Future of Gaming." Thank you, Phil. Also, as for the future of gaming, I'd love a loan of $5 mil, if I could get that. I need it for the future of inside gaming.
Actually.
Please.
I'm just a little pay Patrick.
Yeah, please be my pay.
In the blog, Microsoft's blog, to be clear, he outlined their future plans and all their vaunted player-friendly initiatives as the next generation approaches. And Phil made sure to stress that they're not going to force us into buying a new console.
Buy a new console,
The headline is that all of the games for the next few years will be cross-gen. There won't be any games that only run on the Xbox Series X. Phil summed it up like this. He wrote, "We want every Xbox player to play all the new games from Xbox Game Studios. That's why Xbox Game Studios titles we release in the next couple of years, like Halo Infinite, will be available and play great on Xbox Series X and Xbox One."
Oops. I like how he slid the great in there.
On the, it'll play really actually pretty super well on the Xbox Series X, and it'll also play on the Xbox One.
For all you poor f***s out there.
For anyone who wants to see Halo Infinite at 12 frames per second.
He added, "We won't force you to upgrade to Xbox Series X at launch to play Xbox exclusives." Yeah, they're not going to force you to upgrade, but they are going to discontinue a lot of the Xbox One models. Not forcing anything, though. They're nudging you into the next generation.
Speaking of those discontinuations, Xbox, I'm going to need any news you have before 9 a.m.
Can you please send out all news at 6 a.m. every morning?
And game codes while we're at it. That would be cool.
Phil and others have talked for years now about how they're becoming more device agnostic, and this does seem like part of that philosophy. Of course, they want you to buy an Xbox Series X, and Spencer repeatedly stressed that the games will play best on the shiny new console, but they also don't want to cut off all the people who might not be ready to upgrade from their Xbox Ones. I still haven't upgraded for my Xbox 360 Slim, so I heard
Nor should
that.
you.
Also,
Yeah,
device agnostic, go to church, hippie. Plus, the Xbox One, not exactly a bestseller, so Microsoft, they can't really afford to slice that pie any thinner. They want to keep that base as large as possible.
Hold on, are we saying that the Xbox One is a pie, or should I say a cake, just like everything else in my life, apparently? Are we slicing that cake today, boys?
Good meme reference.
Late on the meme.
Thanks.
Phil also touched on the back of my neck ever so gently. Completely involuntary response. He also touched on backwards compatibility, which was one of the real highlights of the Xbox One. Phil said that you'll be able to play 4 generations of games on the Xbox Series X on day one, saying that their engineers have spent years devising ways to get old games on modern technology.
He wrote, "It's our intent for all Xbox One games that do not require Kinect to play on Xbox Series X to launch the console." Again, it's a smart move, because it means that the Xbox Series X will immediately have a big library of games on day one. They're obviously moving away from the days when you'd buy a new console and only have like 3 games that you could play with it. That was fun, right?
AKA 7 years ago.
I guess I'll play Resogun again.
I don't know. Wasn't that kind of the charm, though, as you're like, hey, it's this new console, I can play one thing on it.
Now you can be overwhelmed with choice at all times.
Right.
And of course, he brought up their smart delivery program, which means that you won't have to buy multiple copies of a game if it's on different Xboxes. Very cool. They're also still planning to release all their first-party games on Game Pass on day one. Game Pass has been very popular and is viewed as a pretty slamming deal. So again, makes sense that they'd keep it going.
That's a pretty crazy deal for all the day one releases.
That's
just
Awesome.
Pretty nuts.
Yeah.
Very smart.
They're also going to bring in Project Xcloud, their streaming service, to Game Pass Ultimate, and that's not going to be at any additional charge. That starts in September in supported countries. So if you want to get your cloud gaming on, Phil wrote, with cloud gaming and Game Pass Ultimate, you'll be able to play over 100 Xbox Game Pass titles on your phone or tablet. And because Xbox Live connects across devices, you can play along with the nearly 100 million Xbox Live players around the world. Man, he has got his corporate speech down, baby. He is a pro.
Oh, yeah.
Is that Stadia we hear crying in the background? Probably. They're always over there sobbing their little eyes out. You know what Stadia needs to cheer up? A subscription to HBO Max, which has an amazing selection of animated content. Hey everybody, really quick before we continue on with today's story, I want to talk to you about HBO Max. It's a new streaming service brought to you by HBO. It has an amazing library of a ton of TV shows, movies, etc. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about their animated content. They offer a ton of different stuff. Something that I think is really cool that they offer is they offer the Studio Ghibli films. I could never find those anywhere to stream beforehand, so it's amazing that they're on HBO Max. Like the other day, I could watch Howl's Moving Castle, which is one of my favorite Studio Ghibli films. Also, The Cat Returns, if you've never seen that, also very worth a stream. You know, we all want to be picked up by a cat prince and turned into a cat princess. So that's a great movie. Very excited that I can stream that on HBO Max. They also have more adult animated content. They have Space Ghost, Coast to Coast, hilarious TV show. If you've never seen it, it's well worth a watch. And you know what? If you want to stream some Studio Ghibli, if you want to stream Space Ghost, you can start streaming that and more today. You can visit bit.ly/HBO Max IG to sign up for HBO Max. That's bit.ly/HBO Max IG, all lowercase. You can sign up for a 7-day free trial, kind of figure out if you like it or not. I'm sure you will. They have some of the most interesting content I've ever seen on a streaming service. So they have a broad animated content library, and it's animation for every generation, which is very cool. It's stuff from like Scoob to, as we were talking about, Studio Ghibli. They also have the adult animation, as we were discussing, Slate Night Funny Anytime, little Boondocks action, maybe little Rick and Morty action. I don't know, what's your flavor? They also have kids and family animation if you're trying to stay kid friendly. Saturday morning, every morning. You can watch little Teen Titans. And you can sign up for HBO Max at bit.ly/HBO Max IG. Sign up for HBO Max at bit.ly/HBO Max IG, all lowercase. Thank you, HBO Max, for sponsoring today's episode.
So there it all is, the official word from Xbox. They're trying to make the Xbox Series X as attractive as possible, putting a little lipstick on it, maybe some long hair.
New dress.
Yep.
Yeah, shaving their legs.
Little eyeshadow. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. No, actually, it's just backwards compatibility. So, sorry.
Well, that's still pretty hot.
If you don't have the money yet, you're not going to be locked out of the newest games. What about an Xbox Series X with big cans? How do we feel about that? Brian,
you can always paper mache some big old jugs on there.
I mean,
if you're a
why
psychopath, I guess you could do that.
I do have an extensive collection of beer koozies with giant jugs. So
that's cool. That's cool. We like that. Speaking of the next generation, Spencer also gave an interview to the Washington Post where he claimed to be over the idea of the console wars. It's in the rear view. He had a scarf and some rose-tinted sunglasses on. He seemed very calm.
So am I. It's stupid.
Yes, it's very stupid.
He said that we should be driven to help gaming as an industry grow, for creators to take the biggest risks they can. When a great game comes out, we should applaud it, whether it's for PC or PlayStation or a Switch.
I agree. Because the way this always manifests itself is people sending death threats because a game is coming to PC that was on PS4 5 years ago. It's so dumb.
Oh, great. Persona 4 Golden's coming to PC. Great. My Vita's worthless. Yes.
People
were actually saying.
You just realized that.
He added that they'd be better served addressing issues like accessibility or fighting toxicity online. Specifically, he said, if we're going to spend energy, let's go spend it on those things. Not my piece of plastic is better than your piece of plastic. Ooh, burn. Nice. I don't think that's a productive conversation. Okay, but then how am I going to own all the Sony fanboys online? With my sparkling personality? No, I don't think so. It's not going to happen. Yeah. I'm never giving up my console wars.
Nope.
The only way to own a Sony fanboy is to get off the game console, go to their house, and date their mom.
And then call them a Soiny fanboy.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Then you dump her. But you've got conflicted feelings because you actually learn to really love her for who she is.
Yeah, and then you regret the breakup and you're forever changed. Of course, there still is a fight between console makers, and it's about to kick off this holiday season when the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5 release. Spencer, though, has said that he doesn't consider Sony and Nintendo to be...
Oh, Nintendo.
There it is.
It's back.
I wasn't going to point it
I
out.
can't
but-
spell it. I can't.
Little head.
I've given up.
Yeah, he doesn't consider Sony and Nintendo to be their true competition. Rather, he's more worried about Google and Amazon, which seems like a pretty clear admission that he thinks cloud gaming will be the future. And Microsoft is far ahead of Sony and Nintendo in that technology. So if it does become the future, they're set. They're ready to go. Nintendo's going to be like, I don't know. Like, if this ever becomes the true vision of the gaming future, Nintendo is going to be freaking out.
They're going to go back to playing cards.
Yeah, they're going to be like, our new game of a box of Play-Doh.
Remember
Thank
when
you.
a subscription to play
Although-
one online game was $15 a month? Isn't World of Warcraft still like $15
Oh,
a month
yeah.
or something?
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
But yeah, so he can afford to say things like, hey, we're all in this together, guys. Let's grow the business and be friends, especially because we're so much
Aw.
richer than you guys. I mean,
Yeah.
Sony literally had to come to them with like their hat in hand, being like, can we use your cloud service because we don't have one.
Pardon
That's
me,
so
sir. Could you
true.
spare any infrastructure?
Any infrastructure for a veteran? And also, Xbox lost the last generation in terms of sales. Pretty handily lost that one. So it also makes sense that Phil's not interested in fighting a console war. He can't do it anymore. He's seen too much bloodshed.
We're not interested in reinvading Vietnam either. I mean, there's a reason
you're right.
for it.
But while they might not have sold a lot of hardware, Microsoft found a lot of success in their Game Pass subscription service. We've talked about it. It's the closest thing the industry has to a Netflix for games. A lot of people thought Stadia would be that. Not us. I don't know who those people are, but that's just another storefront.
Game Pass, though, it has been a hit. It reached 10 million subscribers in April. The Washington Post pointed out that Xbox is carving out a new role for itself as kind of a games curator, similar to, again, Netflix or like a service, like Spotify, something like that. That's clearly what Phil wants to do, I think.
Yeah, and Phil talked about how he wants games to operate more seamlessly across devices, comparing it to something like Spotify, like you just said, which you naturally expect to work across various devices, like your phone and your PC.
Spencer said, gaming has advanced for sure, but we're a little behind some of the apps and other platforms in terms of that capability. So there you go. Microsoft really wants to sell you an Xbox Series X, but they're not going to be mad if you take your time. If you wait a few years, play the long game.
They'll play a little foreplay with you. It's fine.
for sure.
Yeah.
Phil's a sensitive man.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to Inside Gaming Daily for Thursday. I've taken your criticisms to heart.
The next generation of consoles is just a few months away, but one console maker already discontinued its current machines. Oh my god, the Soldier Box has stopped production?
We're getting reports that Microsoft has already stopped making